On a still night, following the echoes of the football game, the story unfolded. My husband walked through the door, flanked by two unfamiliar friends whose presence stirred a mix of curiosity and unease within me. The events of that night would forever alter the way I viewed the world. On that fateful evening, we will delve into the events that unfolded, leaving a lingering sense of intrigue in the minds of all who witnessed it. My husband has always been a reserved soul, marked by a calm demeanor that shuns both overreactions and flamboyance. A person who opts for a life of quiet certainty. We shared a bond that felt incredibly tight, or so I believed. For all those years, not a single hint betrayed the hidden truths he held close. Our life unfolded with a quiet complexity. Throughout the day, I immersed myself in my responsibilities and the familiar rhythm of my routine. In the stillness of the night, we found ourselves drawn together, a delicate balance of unspoken understanding. That night, as was customary, my husband slipped away to the football field, leaving an unspoken tension in the air. It was the ritual he cherished on Saturdays, a fleeting pause to immerse in the company of his friends, where unspoken bonds linger in the air. I remained within the confines of my home. Yet, upon my return, I found myself in the company of another. Two unfamiliar friends, Eric and Jake, shadowed him closely. My husband wore a smile that seemed to hold secrets as he introduced them to me, while I wrestled with the unsettling thought of whether I had ever spoken their names before. Never before had I ventured into that territory. They appeared to be just like anyone else, perhaps even warm-hearted, yet an unsettling tension lingered in the air, drawing my focus. It eluded my understanding, a shadow lingering just out of reach. The rare occurrence of visits after football left me in a heavy silence, a choice made in the weight of unspoken words. I exchanged greetings with everyone, and the atmosphere was thick with unspoken connections as we engaged in conversation. Then I stepped away, the weight of unspoken thoughts lingering in the air as I turned to face the demands ahead. Yet an undeniable pull kept me near, a whisper of certainty that this night held something extraordinary. The night unfolded like countless others, yet the events that followed would shake the very foundation of my connection and force me to confront the choices I had made. As I mixed the drinks and made my way back to the living room, I was struck by the vibrant energy my husband exuded, an intensity that left me both intrigued and unsettled. I believed he was merely thrilled to share a moment with Eric and Jake. I settled beside him on the sofa, the air thick with laughter as the three of them exchanged playful banter about football. Everything appeared ordinary until that fateful moment. That night was devoid of anything remarkable. At times, he would interject into the conversation with a fleeting remark, leaving an air of intrigue hanging in the silence that followed. Yet, an unsettling awareness began to creep in, drawing my attention to an oddity that lingered in the air. There was an unsettling quality to his demeanor, a dissonance in his words that left me questioning everything. Perhaps it was the way his smile lingered, drawing her in with an unspoken promise. Occasionally, his eyes met mine, lingering with an unspoken anticipation as if he were poised for a revelation. I chose to let it fade into the background, unacknowledged and untouched. Perhaps he was simply enveloped in a moment of unexpected joy. Everything appeared ordinary until my husband's words shifted the very air around us. In a sudden moment, he turned to Jake, a smile playing on his lips, and uttered words that sent a jolt through me. "Jake, you know that Rachel has a way of drawing you in with her words tonight." In that fleeting instant, time seemed to hold its breath. The laughter faded, leaving the words suspended in the stillness. I struggled to unravel the tangled threads of the information that surrounded me. What did he just whisper? Could it be a jest? What compelled him to utter those words? I gazed at my husband, searching for a hint that this was all just a cruel jest. Perhaps I lingered, hoping to catch the sound of his laughter, yet his face remained composed, almost tranquil. Silence enveloped the space, heavy and foreboding, as if the air itself held its breath. His gaze bore into me, heavy with unspoken questions, as though he was poised on the edge of anticipation, waiting for my response. My gaze drifted toward my husband's friends, searching for any hint of their awareness of the unfolding situation. Jake, the man to whom he had spoken, wore an expression of utter confusion. He held his breath, the glass hovering between the table and his lips, a moment suspended in time. Eric's gaze remained locked on the floor, a mask of stillness concealing the turmoil within. In an instant, the air shifted dramatically, thick with unspoken tension. The palpable tension hung in the air, impossible to overlook. A whirlwind of emotions engulfed me, leaving me uncertain whether I was filled with anger, lost in confusion, or gripped by fear. My thoughts whirled in a chaotic dance, desperately seeking a logical reason for the events that had just unfolded. What compelled him to utter those words? What could this possibly signify? Could this be a game? What is it that he truly expects of me? Just when I believed the situation couldn't grow any more peculiar, my husband, maintaining his unsettling calm, introduced an additional element that deepened the tension in the air. Indeed, I truly mean it. A jolt of unease twisted in my stomach, catching me off guard. It was no jest. There lay no concealed intention beneath the surface. I maintained a conversation with an unwavering seriousness, yet the most unsettling aspect was my complete lack of understanding of its implications. The silence in the room was unsettling. Silence enveloped the room, heavy and palpable, as if the air itself held its breath. Jake held his ground, while Eric's gaze fell to the floor, and I sat there, grappling with the weight of the moment. That night transformed into something extraordinary. The moment that statement was uttered, everything shifted. The way I viewed my husband, the bond we shared, and even my own reflection transformed in its wake. Yet, the night unfolded in a manner that took everyone by surprise. Why was I stepping into the unknown now, when I had always kept my distance? What compelled me to utter those words in the presence of two strangers I had only just encountered? I gazed into his eyes, searching for a hint that might unravel the mystery within. Yet he held a stoic facade, as though the chaos around him was merely a thread he could easily weave into order. For a fleeting instant, I found myself enveloped in profound solitude, as though I were the only soul in that hauntingly quiet space. Thoughts swirled within me, each one heavy with unspoken weight. Is it a weighty jest? Is he venturing into uncharted territory? Does he harbor resentment towards me? What is he anticipating from me? Thoughts raced through my mind like a storm, yet my body remained frozen in place. A part of me yearned to rise and flee, to switch rooms, to deny the reality unfolding before me, to sidestep involvement in a situation that eluded my comprehension. Yet a quiet whisper lingered in the recesses of my thoughts, urging me to remain, to observe the unfolding events, to unearth the motives that drove his behavior. My curiosity clashed with my instinct to flee, creating a tension that lingered in the air. I chose to observe my husband with a quiet intensity. I cradled his glass, masking the turmoil within me, pretending to be completely content with the unfolding moment. What troubled me deeply was his unwavering confidence, a certainty that hung in the air, as if he possessed a secret knowledge of how the evening would unfold. What made him so certain? What was it that he yearned to reveal? It was never solely him. The two individuals drew me in, their expressions searching for a flicker of shared confusion. Jake stood resolute, caught in a moment where laughter and flight danced tantalizingly close, each option pulling at the edges of his resolve. Eric appeared uneasy, yet there was a subtle shift in his demeanor that suggested he was anticipating the unfolding events. What did he truly hope for? What action could he take that would hold the most weight? With my arms crossed tightly, I fought to maintain a sense of calm amidst the rising tension. I never imagined I would surrender so swiftly. I never found the words to express how utterly adrift I felt. I chose to stay quiet, pretending I was untouched by the unfolding events, as though they held no sway over me whatsoever. Yet, within me, turmoil reigned supreme. Once more, my husband's gaze lingered on me, heavy with unspoken words. This time, a shift flickered across his expression. It was something far more profound, something that lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. It felt as though he held unspoken expectations of me, a weighty mystery that eluded my grasp. What was it that he envisioned? What choices lay before me? In that fleeting moment, clarity eluded me. Yet I felt an undeniable pull towards the intricate web he was weaving, a pull I could no longer deny. There was no turning back. The questions relentlessly crept into my thoughts. Yet, with each passing moment, the situation deepened into something more troubling. Each breath felt heavier, as if the air itself was thickening around me. I yearned for answers, yet the courage to voice my need eluded me. In that moment, he took an unexpected action that left me utterly astonished. My husband rose gradually, silence enveloping him, his gaze drifting past his friends as if they were mere shadows in the room. He approached me slowly, each step heavy with unspoken tension. As he drew near, he leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper that barely reached my ears. Believe in me. Those three words held a power that silenced the chaotic storm of thoughts swirling in my mind. His voice held a calmness that felt almost secretive, as if he were guiding me through a hidden maze of unspoken truths. In that fleeting instant, a whirlwind of emotions surged within me, each one more elusive than the last. Initially, I considered urging him to cease his playful teasing. Yet, there was a profound assurance in his gaze that compelled me to reflect. Impulsiveness had never been a part of my nature. There had to be a reason behind my actions, a compelling justification that lingered in the shadows of my mind. His words lingered in the shadows of my thoughts, echoing with an intensity that stirred something deep within me. Believe in me. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on me, yet an undeniable pull urged me forward, as if I were bound by invisible threads to a path I could not resist. It felt like he was sending that message directly to my soul. Despite the oddities and irritations surrounding me, there was an underlying reason for it all, even if I couldn't quite grasp what that reason was. I chose to trust him, allowing a flicker of hope to weave through my uncertainty. Cradled by the contours of the sofa, I drew in a breath, savoring the moment. I found myself caught in a moment where escape felt unnecessary, and the urge to fight back had faded into the shadows. I chose to heed his instructions, even as confusion wrapped around me like a shroud, leaving me in a haze of uncertainty. A sense of intrigue washed over me as I pondered just how deep this situation might unfold. A part of me yearned to place my trust in him. Those three expressions hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths, teetering on the edge of revelation. I embarked on a journey that would profoundly alter my perception of both my husband and myself. After what felt like an eternity, I realized I was seeing him through a lens that revealed layers I had never noticed before. Who was that enigmatic figure? He was the one with whom I had woven the threads of my existence, yet now he appeared transformed, as if shadows had shifted in the light between us. A sensation of safeguarding enveloped me, unlike anything I had ever known, both enchanting and unsettling in its intensity. I chose to remain, drawn not just by the need to uncover his true intentions, but to delve deeper into the essence of who he really was. There lingered unspoken secrets between us, shadows of thoughts that I found myself unable to ignore. Even amidst the lingering anxiety, an irresistible curiosity began to intertwine, pulling at the edges of the unknown. In that fleeting moment, I found myself at a crossroads, compelled to make a choice that would irrevocably alter the course of everything. I had ventured beyond a boundary. From that instant onward, nothing could ever return to the way it was. As the night deepened, an unsettling transformation unfolded. My husband, with an unsettling tranquility, persisted in sharing his peculiar insights. Initially, the sentences appeared innocuous, yet they harbored a subtle complexity that stirred a sense of unease, prompting you to question what truths lay beneath the surface. Eric and Jake, initially tense and apprehensive, slowly found a sense of ease, striving to navigate an unfamiliar world that felt beyond their grasp. In my mind, I was caught in a whirlwind of feelings, each twist and turn more intense than the last. Uncertainty morphed into a tight coil of anxiety, igniting a curiosity within me that demanded my attention. What lies beneath all of this? What is it that he seeks? Is he exploring uncharted territory, or is he merely toying with my emotions? Eric? The friend who had remained silent for so long finally broke the heavy silence with a fragile laugh that hung in the air, echoing the unspoken tension between them. This situation feels rather tense, doesn't it? Sway gently. My gaze locked on my husband. Jake attempted to steer the conversation towards football, but my husband interjected, raising his hand as if to assert dominance over the unfolding dialogue. "Let's stay on this topic," he said, his smile tinged with an unsettling edge. I yearn to delve into a subject that stirs the soul and ignites the imagination. I desire for each of us to embrace the truth within ourselves. Once again, the silence enveloped the room, thick and palpable. As I listened to the words of my friends, their unease was palpable, and I could feel my heart quickening in response. Could that truly be what he envisioned? What sort of truth was he seeking? I bit my lip, struggling to maintain my composure as the air around me thickened with an unsettling tension. It felt as though we were entwined in a delicate social experiment, a game where only my husband held the key to the unfolding mystery. "Tell me, Jake," my husband urged, his gaze fixed intently on him. "What were your thoughts when you encountered Rachel for the first time this evening?" Jake clutched his drink, a flicker of surprise crossing his face at the unexpected question. His gaze flickered from my husband to me, lingering for a moment before dropping to the floor, heavy with unspoken words. "Do you truly want me to voice it?" Component placement inquired, a mix of worry and uncertainty lacing their voice. "Yes, I want you to be honest," my husband said, his voice steady as he awaited Jake's response, the air thick with unspoken tension. The tension enveloped me, coursing through every fiber of my being. The air thickened, as if the world had paused, holding its breath in a moment suspended between what was and what could be. I was taken aback by the way my husband was probing his friends, the tension hanging thick in the air. I felt certain that any response would shatter the delicate stillness of the night. After inhaling slowly, Jake confessed, "I always found her to be an incredibly beautiful woman." Her voice trembled with an unspoken vulnerability, as if she stood on the precipice of judgment, bracing for the weight of reprimand. My husband nodded, a knowing look in his eyes, as if he had anticipated that very response. His gaze shifted to Eric, a silent tension hanging in the air. "And you, Eric, what are your thoughts?" Eric, his irritation barely concealed, forced a smile, hoping to ease the palpable tension that hung in the air. "I believe we have a connection," he murmured, a hint of uncertainty in his voice as he shrugged his shoulders. A peculiar sensation stirred within me, unsettling yet captivating. I found myself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, unsure if it was shame, discomfort, or something deeper lurking beneath the surface. Every word deepened the tension in the air. I felt an urgent need to utter something, anything to halt the flow of our exchange. Yet a fragment of my being remained intrigued. What were the boundaries of my husband's heart? What was he really trying to say with all of this? The air was thick with unspoken words and lingering glances, yet what my husband chose to do next shifted everything in an unexpected way. He rose from his seat, setting his glass down on the table with a deliberate grace that hinted at something unspoken, a tension lingering in the air. The room was enveloped in an unsettling stillness. With each step he took toward the center, the air thickened, reverberating with an unsettling familiarity. He shielded his eyes completely. Despite my own inner turmoil, I found myself utterly captivated by him. His stance, the intensity of his gaze lingering on each of us, stirred a profound awareness within me that I stood on the brink of a pivotal choice. My heart started to pound with a fervor that was impossible to ignore. A blend of anticipation and trepidation enveloped my mind. What was the message I was on the brink of revealing? "May I request something from you?" Mark spoke softly, his voice laced with an inviting warmth that hinted at unspoken layers beneath the surface. His gaze lingered on Eric and Jake, a silent tension weaving between them. "Your presence is essential to me tonight. Your trust in me mirrors my trust in you." Both individuals gazed at him, their expressions a mix of bewilderment and unspoken questions, as they grappled with the weight of his words. Eric broke the silence, his voice trembling with unspoken weight. "Can you clarify your thoughts more deeply?" He offered a hesitant wink, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. My husband's smile unfurled slowly, casting an unsettling shadow over those nearby. A smile that concealed a whirlwind of deeper feelings. "Tonight everything is laid bare. All is laid bare. I urge each of you to lay bare your truths, no matter how unsettling they may be." A weight settled heavily in my chest, tightening with each breath. What was it that I truly desired? What was I truly trying to convey? What did I foresee unfolding in that haunting space? My mind searched for answers, yet all it uncovered were deeper uncertainties, as if a heavy shadow loomed over us all. I gazed at Eric and Jake, searching for a glimpse of their thoughts, yet their expressions mirrored my own bewilderment. My husband, sensing a shift in the air, turned slightly toward me, as if seeking something more, something deeper. There's nothing to fear. This moment is real, unfiltered, and irrevocable. He spoke, a smile playing on his lips, hinting at unspoken thoughts beneath the surface. All I desire is for Rachel and me to rely on one another, to share a bond that transcends the ordinary. After uttering those words, his gaze locked onto mine. A shift lingered in the air, an unspoken tension that hinted at transformation. I had ceased to remain merely an observer. At that moment, I found myself deeply entangled, even though the path that led me there remained a mystery. In that fleeting moment, my husband chose a path that irrevocably altered the course of the night. He moved closer to Eric, his voice steady yet laced with an unsettling chill, revealing that his skin felt as if it had turned to ice. Eric, if you have faith in me, I urge you to draw nearer to Rachel. My eyes fluttered open, wide and unblinking. My breath quickened, each inhale a whisper of tension in the air. What could he possibly be up to? I pondered as Eric gazed at him, a look that suggested a request far beyond reach. Jake's anxiety was palpable, a tight coil of tension that he struggled to conceal. I found myself caught in a delicate balance of uncertainty and intrigue. Every nerve in my body tingled with a heightened awareness, yet I found myself frozen, unable to stir or utter a single word. The air was thick with anticipation. Eric lingered in uncertainty, his gaze shifting between my husband and me, a palpable tension hanging in the air. After taking a deep breath, he moved cautiously toward me, hesitating as he glanced at Jake, seeking some unspoken validation before proceeding. My husband remained quiet, his calm demeanor deepening the tension in the air, unsettling those who observed him. It appeared to grasp that, in the end, his desires would be fulfilled. In that instant, a palpable tension hung in the air, as if the world around me was on the brink of unraveling. Eric stood on the precipice of an action that eluded our comprehension, shrouded in an air of mystery. Jake appeared on the verge of stepping in, while my husband remained a silent observer, as if the unfolding events were precisely orchestrated by his design. In that instant, I understood that the night was on the brink of an irreversible transformation. The atmosphere inside their room was thick, with unspoken tension. Eric had drawn near, yet he chose to pause, lost in contemplation of the moment. Jake stood frozen, the glass gripped tightly in his hand, yet his gaze was unwaveringly fixed on us. My husband stood resolute and composed, an air of certainty surrounding him as if he possessed knowledge of the unfolding events. The air was thick with tension, each breath feeling like a weight pressing down on my chest. Then my husband approached, his demeanor steady, as it had been all night, and uttered words that revealed the gravity of our circumstances, surpassing anything we had anticipated. This night transcends mere conversation. Embracing confidence means shedding our fears and venturing into the uncharted territories of our desires, where we often hesitate to tread. As I locked eyes with Eric and Jake, a chilling wave coursed through my spine. That night, an undeniable tension hung in the air as I prepared to venture into uncharted territory, challenging the assumptions I had long held about our relationship. A subtle quiver coursed through my hands. My heart thudded with such intensity that it felt as if its rhythm echoed for all to hear, binding us in an unspoken moment. Unease settled within me as I questioned my readiness to confront the unfolding circumstances. Yet, as I locked eyes with my husband, an unspoken intensity in his gaze compelled me to inhale deeply. "You can trust in me completely." His voice brushed against my ear once more, a soft murmur that lingered in the air between us. That simple prayer held a profound ability to dissolve every uncertainty within me. I scrutinized every aspect, and ultimately I found myself in agreement. In this manner, everything underwent a profound transformation. The tension that had enveloped the situation started to shift into something more profound, an atmosphere brimming with emotion and a gaze charged with intensity. The warmth of my husband's hands settled on my shoulders, a subtle yet firm presence, as Eric and Jake drew closer, their movements slow and deliberate, as if they were anticipating an invitation that lingered in the air, unspoken yet palpable. Initially, the atmosphere was laden with awkwardness, but it quickly escalated into something far more charged. It was my husband who seized the moment, setting the rhythm as the others moved forward. Gradually, the air of uncertainty gave way to a moment of honest vulnerability, one that reshaped the way I viewed trust and connection. Eric stood beside me, uncertain, as the atmosphere filled with unspoken questions and reflection, while Jake hovered nearby, his expression a mix of anxiety and yearning. The atmosphere thickened, wrapping around them like a shroud. My husband's gaze lingered on me, a smile of pride and happiness illuminating his features, as if he held a secret that deepened the air between us. He watched intently as each piece fell into place, just as he had foreseen. As the night deepened, the lines that once defined our separation faded into nothingness. In that moment, past discomfort faded, replaced by a complex sense of emotional clarity and transformation, the fragile threads of connection, and the unwavering bond of trust. It was an experience unlike any I had ever known, stirring within me a profound sense of life and connection that felt both exhilarating and deeply resonant. In the stillness that followed, the room held its breath, enveloped in a profound silence. Eric and Jake sat closely on the sofa, their eyes locking in a silent exchange that conveyed feelings deeper than words could ever capture. My husband grasped my hand, his gaze searching mine, as if he needed to confirm that I was truly all right. Everything unfolded beautifully. I spoke to him, his head nodding slightly, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Do you really mean it, Rachel?" Mark inquired softly, his fingers brushing against my cheek as he tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. Trust stands as the essential foundation of all that we hold dear. Understanding that no matter the circumstances, our bond will remain unbreakable. Even amidst the layers of complexity, I found a way to grasp the essence of his message. That night reshaped not just our bond, but also my understanding of my husband, myself, and all that we believed we knew about love and trust. That night, we ventured into uncharted territories, places I never imagined we would dare to explore. As the door clicked shut behind Eric and Jake, an enveloping hush settled over the home, thick with unspoken tension. The lingering energy of the night enveloped the surroundings, thick with unspoken tension. In that fleeting moment, silence enveloped us, thick and palpable. I sat in the armchair, lost in thought about the events that had unfolded, while he maintained a steady presence beside me. "How have you been, Rachel?" Component placement inquired. Their gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. I found a sense of calm, yet I knew my face betrayed a tumult of emotions, a complexity that words struggled to capture. "What is this feeling that envelops me?" I responded. In that charged moment, my husband stepped forward, commanding the space with an unspoken intensity. "What I sought that night transcended a simple trial," he murmured with careful hesitation. "I longed for us to grasp a significant facet together. In the moment we place our genuine trust, we find a way to transcend our deepest fears. Trust weaves through the walls we build, gently dismantling the defenses we hold so tightly." The words he spoke slowly unraveled the significance of everything that transpired that night. Initially, it was unavoidable that he would encounter a certain unease. He observed my irritation, his voice steady as he declared, "There was no other way to convey this information to you." Yet, as we spoke, it became clear that the events we discussed transcended the limits of words. My husband's longing was for us to share that moment, to feel it deeply within our own hearts. It was in that fleeting instant that the profound significance revealed itself to us. The conversation invited us to reflect deeply on our intertwined journeys. I came to understand that even though the strange night held the promise of growth for us both as a couple and as individuals, often it is the unforeseen moments that carve the deepest marks on our journey of self-discovery. That night revealed a truth I had never anticipated. In the quiet moments of life, when the unexpected unfolds, we often find ourselves compelled to grow, to deepen our connections, and to express our thoughts in ways we never anticipated. Trust transcends mere vocabulary. It unfolds as a gripping moment. The story above serves as a powerful reminder for our modern lives. Learn to listen to the silence and the emotions hidden beneath seemingly ordinary moments. In the rush of daily life, we often overlook subtle shifts in a loved one's expression, tone of voice, or gestures. Sometimes a simple sentence can carry an entire world of unspoken emotion. Don't wait until the distance grows too wide to start understanding one another again. Take the time to truly connect, to feel what isn't said aloud, and to offer trust as a precious gift. If this story stirred something within you, a thought, a memory, or even just a quiet moment of reflection, then please subscribe and support the channel. This is a space where we explore the deeper layers of human emotion through stories that may seem simple but carry profound meaning. Thank you for being here. Your support gives life to the stories yet to be told.